part 2 of the lives for today, because if you've been around here for a while, you'll know that I swatch on cola rings. I love them. The one issue I'm having lately is that my cola rings don't have everything organized by brand. They're organized by color. And so the change that's being made is that everything's going to now be organized by both brand and color. And to do that, I'm adding some new cola rings. I'm also going to flip this. Am I? No, I can walk over here. So I tested sort of how I want to swatch, which uses pipettes and the end of this. So we've got that all set up. Yes, ink. It was quick. Turns out that I can just like wiggle the tripod into the corner and that solves all my problems. So we are set and ready to go. And I want to skip this song. Apple, let me skip this song. Okay, I guess we're skipping this too. I guess we're skipping that too. Cool. So the one decision I haven't made is, do I swatch all my samples as well, or do I just swatch bottles? I guess we'll leave this open to the group to decide. Should I just swatch bottles or should I swatch inks samples as well? Also, this week's 2 custom Sailor Mano inks for a fabulous pen that we talked about on Desk Chatter this week. It will be getting its own video. I have not used Private Reserve ink in my this new fountain pen. I have used it in, I inked it up in something quickly. It's a fast drying Private Reserve ink. Limited time is not an issue here. It is just like, is it ridiculous to swatch all my samples or not? And I think the answer is yes, probably, but we're gonna do it anyways. There are waterproof inks. Where are my customs? There are my customs. We're gonna slot those 2 into the list of custom inks. So I prefer their fast drying inks. I'll pull it down. I've used a lot of their inks before, but I like their fast drying ones the best. So in that case, do we want to start with ink samples? Because I've got many ink samples. Also, I'm so jealous you got a Nexi box. I have just given up on the Atlas live sales. If I want something, I will just like save up money and or affiliate credit for it because I have such bad luck in their Discord sales. But also the stash of cola ring dippers, because last time I was at Atlas, I did stock up in a year, what I thought was a year's worth of cola ring dippers, just in case. Which was a good plan because I can't find them anywhere in Canada now. So, ink samples first or bottles first? Because I think I've got a couple, I don't want to say I've got a couple hundred bottles, but I think I might have a couple hundred bottles. And that's like sort of terrifying. So what I want to start with ink samples, mostly because I love my ink sample storage right now. I don't know that I've talked about it on camera. I found these at the thrift store. These are vintage cracker containers. One Ritz, one Premium Plus. These are what, specifically a version of the Premium Plus one, is what my grandmother always had the crackers in at her house. And still has the crackers in her house. And mine is filled with ink samples because it's not a problem if it's invisible. I'm always impressed they don't leak. To be fair, every time I open it, I'm shocked that nothing has leaked, but so far we've been safe. But I think I want to start with ink samples. And so why don't we do that? Shall we start shimmer or matte? And I wish, YouTube has given me polls back. Oh. I didn't have polls for forever, so go vote. All right, I guess we're doing matte. Ooh, it's tied 50-50. It's still 50-50. Ooh. I will tell you, there's a lot less shimmer ones. There are maybe, there are that many shimmer ones. There are like maybe 25 shimmer colors. Matte-wise, there are like probably close to 100 shimmer samples. It's tied. All right, we'll start with shimmer, and then if we've got time, we'll start on mattes. Just gonna dump all of these so that I've got a home to put them back into. So the game plan is that I tested this where I like pipetted it down and used the end of my glass pen to like swirl it around. And I like that. So we're gonna do that with all of these. So the back is gonna get the name and the brand. Oh, I need clean water. I need clean water because I'm going to need to clean off this end of the glass pen. All right, well, the poll's still tied, but we're starting with shimmer because I feel like it. I love this ink. This ink is actually on my bottle list for this year because a couple friends and I were talking about like how you control your list when you make videos in the fountain pen world, because it sort of feels like that can sometimes justify, in a way, getting everything. Because you can make content on it. And I'm trying to be very good this year about not getting everything, only getting things that I actually like and love. And that includes in the ink world. And so I'm trying to be very good about not picking up random stuff that I am not in love with. What is this? Oh, I do love this color from Robert Oster. Violet Dreams. And for all of these, we are using a Pitt Artist pen in size small because it won't run. Also, feel free to talk in the chat or ask questions, or even like continue the discussion from the last one, because I've got the laptop set up so I can see chat, because clearly I can't see the phone anymore. So I can still see everything. I love this color. And Pen Flush makes these syringes so easy to clean. So they're all going into a dirty container, which is actually a piri piri sauce container from the St. Lawrence market. So locals will be very familiar with it. Ooh, this, I think that's my first bad ink. It is. Well, I've never had a bad ink. But is it the whole ink sample? It is. It's interesting. So you can sort of see it on here still. It was like all gloopy. I don't know if you can actually see it on camera. And so it was very clear that like something was up with it, which is really sad because it's a really pretty color. So I guess this is going in like the project bin, but not like the inks to put in a pen bin. That's actually the first time I've had it happen with an ink. I've heard about it happening from friends, but I've never personally experienced it. So this is Ferris Wheel Press. But what is it called? Wonderland in Coral? Is that what it was? W-I-C. Wonderland in Coral. Luckily, I think it's been a while since that ink has been in a pen. I don't think it's been in a pen since the summer. So I'm not super worried about it having contaminated a pen. But it is interesting that it was a Robert Oster ink that has gone bad first in my collection. Because of the brands that you hear about there being mold issues with, it's not normally them. Also realizing maybe I should wash my hands. So we might, once I finish this one, I might go and wash my hands now that I've dealt with that sample. I hate getting the lids back on these files. It's just going on the paper, and so I'm not worried. If it was getting dipped into the ink, I'd be worried about this being contaminated. But it's not, it's just being used on paper. All right, I'm gonna go wash my hands. Feel free to talk amongst yourselves as I All right, now that my hands are clean, and now that I actually think about it, I don't think it's been in a pen. I don't think I've ever actually inked it up in a pen. I think I've used it with dip pens, but I don't think I've actually inked it, which actually makes me a little less stressed. But it does mean that as much as I love the color, I probably won't be getting a bottle. It is currently on my bottle list, but I'm just a bit suspicious now of adding a bottle to my collection, just in case. This is Diamine Starlet C. So some of these are secondhand samples that I got from somebody in the Canadian Fountain Pen group who ordered samples from Goulet a couple of years ago and then didn't use them in her pens. They just weren't her colors. This is one of them. I will say I've also never inked this in a pen. I'm just not, I don't know, there's just something about it that I don't love. So I've never inked it up in a pen. But it is a very pretty, like, dark blue shimmer, if that's what you're after. It does accomplish its goals of being shimmery and very dark blue. All right. I just forget how to spell this one. Is it a bid? I think it is. It is. I do like these bottles. They've got like agitator balls in them. And I wish some of the Ferris wheel pressings had these agitator balls in them, because they are a pain to agitate sometimes. Though I do know somebody that has her Ferris wheel pressings with the magnets for a magnetic stir plate. I don't know that I've reached that level of frustration, but like someday maybe. I'm so sad about this color because it's so pretty. Like, it's just stunningly beautiful. But I don't know if I can justify a bottle when even my sample vial of it has gone off. So. Let's grab another color. I feel like you're in your wrong home. Yeah, you are. This one sounds suspicious. Sort of sounds like there's something hard in it, but it could just be shimmer. I'm going with that it was just a clump of shimmer. Because going down on paper doesn't seem to have any issues. right. I sort of like the two different versions. Honestly, I'm hoping nothing else has gone off, but the reality is, like, sometimes inks just go bad. I'm sort of surprised it's a Robert Oster that's gone bad. There are other brands that are more, or that I seem to hear more about going bad, like Van Diemen's, but I've only got one bottle from them. So if I spelled Where and Go wrong, no, I haven't. I have to say, Werengal is one of the brands that no matter how many times I write it out, every time I write it out, I still go, have I spelled this correctly? It's just one of those words that I sometimes don't spell correctly. I love this color. This is also on my bottle list this year. It's one of those just fantastic colors. I find lots of the Werengal colors like aren't my level of moody that I want from a color. Especially their shimmers. I just sometimes find them too shimmery. But they do sometimes have a shimmer that's like the right level of moody for my collection. And that is definitely one of them. All right, let's streamline this situation a little bit. I believe this one's a hot pink. Might be wrong though. Oh no, it's the other one that's a hot pink. Let me zoom you guys in anymore. I can. Look at that. I can be like sort of techie. What is this? Ooh, this is another sample of the Nightingale on the Rose, because clearly I love it. Diamine Sparkling Shadows. I love this color. This is very pretty gray with silver shimmer or gold shimmer in it. I guess it could be a navy. Might be navy. I'm realizing I'm being really bad about naming colors. Oh, that's a custom. That's a custom. That's not a custom. Let's do the last two wearing gall, or three wearing galls, so that this bottle can go away again. The young king. Wendy, darling. All right. Let's start hot pink. I love this color, but it is not on my bottle list this year. I don't love it enough for a bottle. There are other hot pinks I really like that I do. Do I have any hot pinks on my bottle list this year? I don't think so. I've got a couple muted pinks on my bottle list this year. But most of my bottle list is Sailor Mano and Warringal. In the like multi-shading stuff, because that's what I find myself putting in pens most these days. And there are some from both brands that I really like, though there's a couple Warringal shimmers that are currently on the list. Yeah, Sailor Mano inks are some of my favorite inks, and I like that you can mix Sailor Mano inks together to get new colors. It's a lot of fun. I've actually found most of the Sailor inks can be mixed together. I haven't had any weird issues mixing Sailor inks together, which has always been very nice. Because sometimes like you want a multi-shading effect that you don't quite have, and I find that you can get it by mixing a couple Mano inks together normally. That's what I did this week. I'm actually trying to convince myself there are moments that I go, oh, I need the whole Sailor Mano line, and then I go, no, you really don't. You've got enough other inks, but I do love the Mano inks. I don't mix inks all that often, except when there's something really specific I'm looking for, or like I've got the dregs of ink in a couple sample vials that like look like they should go together. If I've got a sparkly blue and a matte red in sample vials, and I'm at the bottom of both of them, I'm probably going to mix those two together just to see what happens. This is Wear and Gall Wendy Darling. I love this color. I would agree with that. I've got lots of random samples. This cola ring has a section that's called Customs, which are all custom colors that I've sort of mixed up enough of to have in a 5 ml sample and have like at least, I know what's in them. So the colors mixed are on the card. But I also have a pen in March's Inked where I put an ink in it and like didn't like writing with it, and so I just added other inks to it. Hello, Rob. Oh, it's like morning in Japan now, isn't it? I don't have that one yet. I have Sakura, Nekoyani, and Haha in my collection, and there are 4 or 5 others currently on like my I need list that I'm hoping to get in the next couple months, but we'll see what happens. I love Wendy Darling. I know it's a contentious color. People love it or they hate it. I personally love it. It's so pretty. I think it works really well in a really, really juicy nib. It does not do well in anything that does not put down a lot of ink. But if you've got something that puts down a lot of ink, it's a fun ink. We actually talked about your pen, Rob, off the top of this thing because it's sitting on my desk right now. I don't know if you can still see it. Oh, you sort of can. It's up here. It's very pretty. I still can't get over how pretty it is. It will be getting its own video soon. How much do you want to bet the second ink to have a mold issue is Diamine? Because I'm suspicious of this ink. I might be wrong. Might be wrong, but it's like the shimmer doesn't want to seem to mix into it like it normally does. So now I'm suspicious. It would help if I had this card the right way. Oh, it seems to be okay. You're just being extra because you could. Like the shimmer's just sort of sitting on top of the ink in the vial. I'm suspicious. It's a very pretty color though. It's very, very bright magenta. Might go in the I'm suspicious of you pile. Oh, but like the weird streaking on the vial's gone away now that I've really shaken it. Oh no. What do people think? Are we suspicious? Because it was really streaky on the sample vial to begin with. But I also don't use it all that often, so I don't know if maybe it just needed to be really well shaken. For now, though, it'll sit there while I debate it. Yeah. I sort of feel that way as well. And it's also just a Diamine ink. It's not super hard to replace. Queus. fill at lengthwise. D-E. Ah, it is 2 sample cards. This is also an ink that I've never put in a pen. I got the sample at the Atlas Sidewalk sale last year, and I just picked it up because I wasn't super familiar with the Jacques Herbin inks, and I've just never tried it in a pan. I'm not a huge green person, but I'm really liking it in this big swatch. It's very pretty. It sort of reminds me of Sabi Midori. So it will be going in a pen, and probably soonish. We are down to our final 4 of shimmers. And then, you know, I have not tried Emerald of Chavoy yet, which feels sort of sacrilegious to say in the pen world, but I don't have it in my collection, and I have not received a sample of it at a show yet, and so I still have yet to try it. I think I've tried it in somebody else's pen. That sounds good. I am happy to wait. Because you're gonna see a lot of inks in this that you haven't actually seen the videos of, because I think I've got an ink video every other day until the middle of April with the current samples I have, and I'll probably do a sample trade with another Canadian, and that'll take me through to Chicago. I appreciate it. Oh, this isn't the one. At one point we're gonna hit an ink that's really funny because of just the number of views it got. One of the ink swatches that I think went up in December has just hit 160,000 views, which seems a bit absurd to me for an ink swatch video. But I believe it's a diamine ink in that video. It's hit 160,000 views. And at first it felt really weird because it was like this thing that like takes me no time to film that I just do for the fun of it because I'd be doing them anyways. Okay, most of them don't do that well. Most of them do like a couple hundred views. And then there was this one that did a whole bunch of views, and it actually, honestly, it sort of messed with my mental health more than a bit because there's a lot of content that I put a lot of work into. And then there was this one video that took me, a coloring ink swatch video probably takes me, it's about 1:30 of footage. No, it was Diamine Brandy Snap. It's a pretty normal diamine ink. And it takes about 1:30 of footage that I edit down for one of those ink swatching videos, and suddenly this thing was, for a channel my size, going viral. and all this content that I put a lot of work into was not performing as well, and YouTube then starts to go, oh, you should keep making things like this ink swatch video, and I'm like, I make videos like this multiple times a week. I don't know what's going on and why this one's doing really well. It just is. And so it was a time, but we seem to be back to normal now, and like ink swatching videos are back to getting like a couple hundred views, and the people that enjoy them, and I enjoy them because they're something that I'd be doing anyways, and I just now film them. Ferris wheel press sparkling champagne. This is a color I'm really sad that I didn't get a bottle of. I love it as a gold. It is such a pretty gold. Apparently I can't spell. But honestly, we've made it this far before I screwed up on something. And it'll just go into like my testing pile. Such a pretty gold. Ooh. That's interesting. I haven't had leaking issues on Ferris wheel press lids. As long as I make sure to like replace the rubber seal, they seem to be okay. But as a color goes, it's such a pretty gold. I love it as a gold. And I meant to get it in an 85 ml bottle, but they put it in last chance, and then I missed it in last chance. Well, that's the point of a desk protector. And mine are from IKEA because they are cheap and they wipe pretty clean, though I've still got paint spots on this from Christmas. Dominant Industry Les Nuages. Did I spell industry wrong? I did. Yes. Really, for me, it's just a color thing. I really struggle to find a good gold ink, and I love doing cards in gold ink. If I'm doing a birthday card, if I'm doing an anniversary card, I love to do the writing in a gold ink. Currently, I'm using another different gold from Ferris wheel press that I've been through a bottle of. And I'm on my second bottle, and I have a third because I live in perpetual fear they're going to discontinue it. But I've yet to try Golden Barrel, and I'm sure there are other great golds out there. I just like need something that's a true gold. There are, as I learned in the watercolor world, there are lots of colors that look gold that aren't like actually gold. And my big thing is I want a true gold that's also sparkly. I wish I had another one of these trays that were empty right now, because this paint tray is about to be full, and I don't have more of them empty right now. So I was in the fountain pen world when Golden Barrel came out, but I wasn't into Pelikan, and I didn't understand their releases of the year. And so I didn't get it, because I sort of thought it was just going to be around. And I have since learned how wrong that was. Because, yeah, no, I don't have Golden Barrel. I wish I did. Apparently it's fantastic. My fear is that I'll get a sample of it and I'll fall in love with it. And I do not want to pay the prices a bottle of it sells for. So this is the last sample. This is Colorverse Portuguese Meteor, which did not make the cut from the Colorverse Advent Calendar. I found it quite interesting how they did that, where they only took the top 3 colors from the calendar. So I am interested in trying their gold. I do want to see somebody compare it to Golden Barrel. Golden Star Shimmer. Okay. I don't know that I've got that one. I don't have that one, but I don't know that I've tried that one from in anyone's pens. I do love Portuguese Meteor. I'm sort of sad that they only took the top 3. I feel like there were a lot of other colors in the Colorverse calendar that got cut. Ooh, so many gold suggestions. I'm gonna have to come back and rewatch this so that I write down all the suggestions, so that I know what to ask for in samples from people. I guess we'll start on this because this has an incredibly long name. Did I put this name on something? I did. Look at me go. Bungukan Kobayasha. And it is I don't know how to spell this. I think it's called Waiting for Spring, but I don't quite know where you fall. Haha! So these inks are actually made by Sailor, but they're Japanese exclusives. And I have a friend that orders from Japan, and so got some of them, and then let me have samples of them. So how am I gonna do this? I guess I'm gonna go find a bin to dump these into. These sort of remind me of the Sailor Mano inks, but they're almost moodier. All right, let's go find a bin to dump all of these into. It is called, I'm just gonna type it in the chat, because my Japanese is not it. B-U-N. All right, let's grab a bin. Guess we'll take that one. I'll just dump out everything that was in it. Because that's how you problem solve. So Sailor makes, I think Sailor makes the Bungo box inks. I would say most of the private label Japan inks are Sailor. And anything that comes in the square bottle with this sort of lid is Sailor. But they also have an old style bottle that they still use in Japan. Yeah. So there are all the samples. Who else does Sailor make? They make a lot of inks. I just sort of, at this point, assume, unless I'm told anyway, otherwise, that like everything Japanese private labels ink-wise is probably Sailor. Because of my experience, that has always been the case. But I'm sure there's other brands of private label in Japan. Really, I find that like as long as you believe that one, I always make sure that I tighten, and even if I think things are tight, I go back and I tighten again. And also, like, you just have to believe that things aren't going to leak. If you think that things are going to leak, I find that things leak. When I go into something going, nothing is going to leak, everything's going to be fine, everything is fine. Because I'm also more careful to make sure like I tighten lids all the way. All right, we are going to shift some of these onto the desk. Look at that gold. I love it. It's like liquid metal. All right, we ditched most of them. These are the only two that I'm actually, sort of worried about. Usually when I say everything is fine, it's normally not fine. I would say that qualifies for me as well. Yeah. It's like, everything's fine. Actually, the world's on fire. And maybe I've spilled half a bottle of ink across the table, which I haven't done today, but like in the past. Diamine pick me up. I don't actually know what I'm listening to. What is this from? Oh, it's from that. Okay. What color is this? I thought this was an orange, but maybe it's not. Seems very brown. I do not have any Bungo Box inks. I really want Cinderella. The truth is I can't justify. I think Jet Pens has Cinderella and it's $45 for the bottle. And I don't know that it's all that different from Dusk and Bloom from Ferris Wheel Press. Would I love Cinderella? Yes. I'm sort of hoping that Wearingal does a Cinderella collection. And if they do, I'll be in trouble. Monteverde Fire Opal. At this point, pen money and ink money and stuff for the channel in general is coming from AdSense and affiliate credit or affiliate commission. And so I've got a fairly limited pen budget for the year currently. Memberships is helping a bit because that is a consistent amount every month that I know I will have going towards pen stuff and stuff for the channel, but yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting year. Let's pick another sample. Oh, I love this color. It's Moonlit Veil. Yeah, I feel similarly. I wish they were less expensive. It's the same way I feel about the Ancora inks. Is it Ancora? Whatever the Japanese stores that Sailor does collabs with that starts with an A. They have some stunning inks. They've got a beautiful gray. And I found it somewhere locally and it was $26 for a 20 ml bottle of ink. And I was like, sorry, it was $36 for a 20 ml bottle of ink. And I was like, I cannot justify that. But I'm also like, I no longer buy Ferris Wheel Press fairy tales with the latest price increase. The only ones I have are the ones that they're sending out to Jubilee. So that's sort of where I'm at with the collection and stuff this year. I feel like I've got Moonlit Veil in a couple pens currently, and that's why this is pretty empty. I think I've got it in like 2 pens. Or I've got it in 1 and Mom's got it in 1. Do I? No, this is not the right color. Which is the color that I have in a pen and Mom has in pen then? Okay, we're saving all the Ferris wheel press ones for the end because they've just got color codes on the bottom of them. And I have to figure out what all the codes are. And that feels like a lot of work today. Feels like too much work today. Ferris wheel press. I hear something glass. That could be something else. I think I've got all the Ferris wheel press. All right. All right. So this is one of 2 polar vortexes. And we're gonna grab, it's Romeo and Juliet. There's polar vortex. We're gonna grab both. That's sort of how I feel. Like I've got so many pastel-y colors from Ferris wheel press, which is really the bungo box colors that I like, that I'm like, I think I'm okay. But then I see them and I go, oh, but I love them. Polar vortex. Old. This is a crazy color. New. And highlights the some of the issues when you're buying an ink. From somebody that does small batch inks. And there are some great Robert Oster inks that I love. This one that I'm swatching being one of them. But there are definitely, when I swatch the next one, you will see why it has ended up on this list. So I don't know who from Sailor is going to the show. Like, I don't know if the Sailor Pen Guild is attending the show. I assume they are, but also the Sailor vendor list isn't out yet. And then I also don't know if the US vendors for Sailor are attending the show. I hope they release the vendor list soon. I have been told by somebody that they were told early March. So we are well and true in early March. Yeah, I like Lennon Toolbar inks. I only have sesame oil from Lennon Toolbar, and I only have it because of all the hype it had last summer. And I happened to be at Atlas, and they had it in stock when I went down for the sidewalk sale. And I sort of felt like I had to get a bottle. But it is very pretty. And I sort of forget, I didn't have it in any of my winter pens, so I feel like I need to have it in a spring pen. And this is the color difference. I don't know if you can tell from up there. One is navy, and one is purple. Once they dry, we'll look at them more carefully. But I have to say, it was one of those inks that, actually, I think you guys saw me swatch them live on camera the first time, and I was like, this doesn't look right. And the reality is, because they're small batch, like there are going to be variances, and there just happened to be a big variance between the batch that I had my samples from Atlas from and the batch that I ended up getting my bottle from, which is a bit sad because I do love the old version. So if anyone has an old version bottle of Robert Oster Polar Vortex, the navy one, let me know, because I'm on the hunt for one, because I really like it. Oh, yeah. I feel like, especially with vintage stuff, I like to have one ink for it. Ooh, that's sort of fun, William. I don't really like scented inks. They're not really my thing, but they are cool. Visconti Sepia. I have 2 Visconti inks. The other one I have is Orchid and Blossom from Atlas's damaged table at the sidewalk sale. The box had the box is white, the box had smudges on it, and it was $5. So it came home with me. It's a very pretty purple. Yes. So that's my favorite part about the sidewalk sale, is that like you get a whole, Alice just had these tables of things that were damaged but not really damaged. So like notebooks where or rhodia pads where like the covers had nicks from them, or in the case of the Visconti, like a white box that had smudges on it. There were a couple Ferris wheel pressed colors where like an ink bottle had spilled in storage, and so the boxes had been damaged and they were being sold boxless. I love the sidewalk sale. It is one of my favorite events of the year, and I'm hopeful that I'll get to go back this year. I don't know for sure, but I'm hoping that I get to, because it is one of my favorite events of the year in the pen world. It's got a very different vibe than a pen show, and it's much more family block party. So, depending on when you schedule it in December, you'll be there for the Atlas Holiday Market. Atlas puts on, or tends to put on, 2 weekend events in December with pen vendors. They do have a holiday market. They have 2 weekends because all the vendors have to fit inside the store. So unlike the sidewalk sale, everything's inside. But they also tend to have Kirk one weekend and Matthew Chen the next weekend, or like vice versa. So you can also get nib work done. It's also a really cool event. I didn't get to go this year, and I'm sort of sad I didn't get to go. But they do hold a December event. If like your trip is flexible enough that you can schedule it around that event. I don't know that the dates are out for it yet. I know the dates for the sidewalk sale are, but I don't know that the holiday market dates are out yet. I like that the two of you are shopping while I swatch out hundreds of ink samples. Somehow it makes the fact that I'm swatching all these ink samples seem like less of a problem when the two of you are also shopping for ink at the same time. This is turning into like a modern art piece on this piece of paper towel. Fair. Well, if you're shopping at Atlas, you know what to do. I'm, you know, saving up for a large-ish Atlas purchase. So, you know, if you're already going to shop, I love watching other people's videos while I clean pens. I'm sure that's a story. You've also got Gold Spot as an option. Are you speaking with Tom? Just like, okay, great. Well, I, you know, have an affiliate for them as well, if you feel so inclined to pen shop at Gold Spot. And you can combine my affiliate link with, as long as you don't click on Honey, because if you click on Honey, it rewrites to their affiliate code. But if you don't click on Honey, you can combine my code or my link with any of the currently active discount codes, which offer 10% off some of the products there. Yeah, so actually for anything, if you click on Honey, it overrides the affiliate link for the creator if you've used a creator's discount code. And Honey gets the affiliate credit. No, so Honey is a site that, or a website that collects discount codes. Yeah. Yeah, the extension browser things. Yeah. I don't know what this ink is. Well, I'm glad that Kirk could fix your problem. This is it this? Yeah, sure. Sometimes I can't read my own writing on the top of a sample file. And then I have to do a bit of detective work. Hello. Ooh. So I don't own anything from Walltown yet, but I adore their work. I was lusting after something they purchased recently. They are, I want to say they only post on Instagram, but they have some quite pretty pens, and they're currently in Baltimore, and I believe they're coming to Chicago, though I'm hearing more and more from makers that they did not get tables at Chicago this year. So it's definitely going to be interesting. Yeah, I'm hearing it more in the past couple weeks that people haven't gotten, makers specifically haven't gotten tables, which feels like a weird take to have in the pen world. Atlas didn't get, I've heard that Atlas didn't get all of their tables this year, but also Atlas is the title sponsor for the event. They put up a chunk of change for the event to happen. And I do believe that they should be allowed to have multiple tables for the amount of money they put forward. Did they confirm 7? Okay. I had heard that they had less tables than they had last year, and last year Atlas had 6, but an end booth, so that they had, or 5. They had 5 plus an end, and the end meant that they brought one of the ink racks from the stores. Interesting. I haven't been on Discord in a little bit. Sometimes it annoys me. Recently it's been annoying me. So I haven't been on it recently. I have more questions now, but nothing I can ask on camera. So we're going to ignore that. Because I'm wondering if they're including something else in that number, but I will send an email and ask a question to somebody else. Yeah, I'm sort of confused right now, because that goes against everything that I've been told. I think I know what's going on. I think I know how they've ended up with 9 tables. And that is all I can say. Unless the list isn't live. Yeah, that's all I can say. All I can say is I think I know how they've ended up with 9 tables. When I can talk about it, I'll talk about it. But also they're the title sponsor, and they've put up a chunk of change for this event to happen. And the show dropped. Last year, I think the show had 5 sponsors, and this year they've got 3. Nobody quite knows why that's the case. So, you know, things are going on in the background of that show that we as the public are not privy to. This is Lamy Turquoise. Luxury Brands of America and Pen Realm for the other two sponsors. But I'm shocked that Atlas has said what they said in the Discord when the thing isn't live yet. But you know what? Whatever. It's not my problem. 1 second. When did he say that? 24. Oh, I have even more questions now. Yeah. Not my monkeys, not my circus. It's a frequent line in this household. I have many, many questions in my brain. And none are going to get answered tonight because it's Friday. It's okay. You've just like, I just now have, I think I've put the pieces together in my brain, but it's not public information yet, and so I can't say it. That's just where we're at, is that I think I've put the pieces together in my brain. Yeah. It is not, it's not a Mont Blanc ink. I spelled Mont Blanc wrong on the other side, and so I used it to test. It is actually Ferris Wheel Press Algonquin Maple. It is the red ink that inspired a blog post with Atlas. Not Atlas, it's the red ink that inspired one of my blog posts with Goldspot. So if you look on Goldspot under blogs, you will find it's a blog post called The Best Red Fountain Pen Inks. Yeah, it's a great color. It's my favorite red ink. I've got an 85 ml bottle of it that's almost empty. And so Goldspot asked if I would write on searching for a new red ink. And it is incredibly well behaved. It is my go-to red ink and has been for a long time. And so I, back in the fall, wrote for Goldspot on searching for comparable red ink. It does look like it would be good in a Bordeaux colored Mont Blanc pen. Rich is not coming to Chicago, as far as I know. Or the last I heard from him, he was not coming to Chicago. But Stationery Universe tends to sell his nib holders. And Tori's colors of them tend to be really fun. I wish Sailor had less ink lines. Yeah, Stationery Universe. So we had Tori on the podcast on Monday with Claire. She normally shares, her table's normally at the end of Pen Realm's big booth. But again, none of us know where anyone will be. But she normally has nib holders from him. And they're very pretty. I was gonna say I think this is one of Tori's, but it's not. It's just a very Tori color palette for a nib holder. She is very into the girly and sparkly and like, some of hers are very space themed, but some of them are like this. And I love this one. I'm not super picky about the color. Then you might be able to find one secondhand, which is how I found mine. I found mine in a pen swap group. If you put out a searching for message, you might happen to come across somebody that's selling one of theirs, because sometimes people get bored of a color. You can also always commission one from Rich. Okay. Rich does do commissions. If you do happen to fall in love with a rod of some sort. Yeah, that's what I do with people. Claire's bringing stuff to Chicago for me. And so Shannon. Because, like, neither of us want to drive the couple hours to go to each other. I always find Mom G to be a pink, not a red. And I know color's subjective, but I always find it very, very pink. Exactly. Like, we're gonna be in the same place. We're gonna be in the same hotel. Why am I driving to go see you and pick up stuff when I could just, you know, make you bring it to me in Chicago? So much easier. It's really not, but it also sort of is. I love Algonquin maple. I know that Gold Spot still has it in stock, and I sort of am still considering, or no, they don't. They had it in stock when I wrote for them, and they no longer have it in stock. I sort of regret not picking up a bottle of it. But again, there were lots of other great reds that appeared in that blog post, and I'm sure that one of them is actually the perfect red ink for me. I think I gave the winner to, I don't actually know. Who did I hand the winner with the win to? Seeing my byline on Gold Spot is so weird. I don't know if it'll ever stop being weird, but right now it's weird. Oh, ooh. I'm such a squirrel sometimes. Who wrote for them this week? Who wrote? Oh. Because I also just wrote a thing on the the 11 best black pens. Who did I give the win to on reds? Jacques Herbin, Garnet Red. Is who I gave the win to. I am familiar with the Andorralium inks. I have their Chicago Pen Show ink from last year. And I do like it. I just don't like their bottles. I find that because my hands are a little bit shaky, I can't open their bottles without making a mess. And because of that, I don't have any other inks from them. But apparently Colorverse is doing the Chicago Pen Show ink this year. And I am very excited for that, because I do love Colorverse's inks. So I am excited to see what they do, because Bryce was telling us about it on Desk Chatter. This is Ink Studio. I haven't even made a dent in the matte samples. You guys were right about starting with shimmer. It was much more satisfying. But I I've also got next week off, and so maybe we'll finish this project next week in various live streams, because there's also no desk chatter next week. It's a break week from desk chatter. So I love Colorverse. I just got their shiny black, and I'm absolutely in love with Colorverse shiny black from their project series. The one thing I don't like is I wish there was more inks that came in whatever the shimmer bottle size is. I find their 65 ml bottles just to be a lot of ink. But there are definitely some inks. I'm looking at a Colorverse one that like I haven't used since the summer. I inked it up once. So I have what I described as the whole Colorverse family. I have the 65. I have, what is this, 15? I have the 5. And then I think this is a 45. Nope, it's a 30. I like their 30. I find 30 to be a reasonable amount of ink to go through. Like I haven't, there are some Colorverse inks that I just think I'll love and then don't love enough to actually ink up into a pen. That's one of them. I do love this, but I'm never going to use 65 ml of black with hollow in it, as pretty as it is. So I will be doing samples of that for people. This is just adorable and sort of stupid, but I love it. This, though, the 30 ml, is a reasonable size. It is a reasonable amount of ink for me to go through, and I wish more things came in it. Ew. See, no one near me carries the 5 ml ones, except Toronto Pen Shop, who only recently started to carry them. And so mine came in my goodie bag from the Chicago Pen Show last year. And I sort of love it because it's stupid and I use it for flat lays. Because I've also got that ink in, I've got it in a 15. So now I need to, there's some that I'm going to cull. There's some inks that I'm going to bring to Chicago and trade with people and stuff because I'm not using them. And I like to have, much like my pens, I like what I have to be things I'm using. This is one of my first, got it as a sample, then bought a bottle of it from not Ferris Wheel Press. There are very few inks that I love enough in a sample to get as a bottle. So Chicago Luxury Brands of America tends to have a pretty good booth where you can buy a lot normally. And I've already been talking to their team about things that I can't find here that they're going to be bringing to the show. Because there are some things like the Regalia desk pads that I just can't get locally. So they will be bringing some to the show for me to purchase. We are ditching a bunch of these things to dry again. I'm sort of leaving them in the tray until they're like quite dry. Like if they're still at all shiny, they're staying in the tray. Purely because I want them to dry. I did. Claire picked one up for me at LA. But now they've just released the red collection, and I'm trying to convince myself that I don't need another large traveler's cover in red, because I'm sort of in love with it, but I'm also like, you have too many traveler's covers. But yes, Claire picked it up for me at LA, and I will be picking it up from her at Chicago. Though she and Peter did offer to ship it to me. I'm okay with waiting. Private Reserve Orange Crush. Ooh. So are you at the Baltimore Pen Show this weekend? What desk mat was I looking for? Was I looking at a desk mat? I don't remember looking at a desk mat, but I might have been. Oh, I was looking for a regalia paper desk pad, so a writing pad, because I don't like notebooks unless they're small, like a traveler's notebook. So I like loose leaf, which regalia does not come in, or a pad like Rhodia where you can tear out sheets. And what Endless Regalia has is a desk pad in a couple different sizes, including like a smaller, like just a little bit bigger than their Pen Show testing pad. So I've asked, and they've said they will bring some of those to Chicago so that I can purchase them for the studio. Because I am almost out of the paper pad that the end of Chicago last year, they had a couple of the show pads left, and they said we could take them home, and I fell in love with using it this year, to the extent that when Kari came to visit, she brought me hers because of how much I love it. And I was almost out, and I was really sad, and it's not her favorite. She likes it, but it's not her favorite paper, and I am still rationing it in videos, but I'm not as anxious when I accidentally screw up in a video and have to refilm it as I was a month and a half ago when I thought I had like 8 sheets of it left. Oh, it's after 7. It's almost dinner time. I think, though, this is going to become a live project this weekend. So I think I'm going to need one. I think this weekend's going to suck. So, I don't know that there'll be one. There'll probably be one tomorrow night. We are having homemade mac and cheese and pulled pork. And I can smell the cheese sauce of the mac and cheese, which tells me that Mom is almost done dinner. So I think I'll do one more color and then I'll end this. Oh. I do like how colorful this is becoming. It's sort of becoming like an art piece, and I'm sort of in love with it. Yeah. Let's end with a Mont Blanc ink. Let's end with Mont Blanc Egyptian Blue, which I adore. It was in a, Mont Blanc did like, used to do these like trio sets of, I believe they were 30 ml bottles. It is going to be delicious. I think it's the, I do the majority of the baking. So I'll be doing bread this weekend and stuff. Dinners are very much mom's domain. But I'll probably do three or four loaves of bread this weekend, because that'll last us, how long? Normally about 10 days. I like cooking. I like, if you've been on Instagram recently, you'll know, you get fairly frequent plant updates about what's going on our kitchen floor. Today's was fairly impressive because we finally have tomato plants coming up. But I would say I probably cook more in the summer when the days are longer. In the winter, I like to take advantage of whatever sunlight / not dark time we have in the studio, which means Mom mostly does dinners. And I will bake bread, I think probably Monday. I think I'll feed the starter and start the process on I'll probably pull Victor out of the fridge tonight, and then I'll feed him tomorrow and start the dough on Sunday and bake Monday morning. Yes, we were in a very pro-cooking household. All of us can cook, including my brother, and all of us, I think all of us bake. Yeah. Dinner? Yeah, okay. Well, I've been summoned for dinner. This was lovely. Thanks for hanging out. And I will see you later in the weekend for the rest of ink samples, because we still have that to deal with. Yeah, I'll see you this weekend, because like we still have this before we get to bottles. So we've got plenty to do. And yeah, there's some duplicates in here. But yeah, thanks for hanging out.